Click. Yay! Okay, hold on. Plug the computer in. Yeah.
People can see you.
Yeah. Okay. Now looking good. I can see my dog over there. Hopefully she's not gonna bark.
You see me?
Huh?
You see me?
Not unless you walk down the hall. Okay. Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining. I had to figure out, I set it up earlier and I didn't know how to get into it, so I had to figure that out for a second. But we're gonna make some pastry cream today, some cookies and cream pastry cream. It's really easy. I've had some questions when people have seen me like filling some cupcakes and stuff like that. And they're like, what filling is that? And it's just cookies and cream pastry cream. It's ridiculously easy to make and you can do so many cool things with it. So let's get started. We have a pot right here. I'm gonna see, I don't know how to set up more than one camera at one time. So I'm gonna try to see if I can angle the computer down a little bit to see if we can see a little bit better. There we go, we can see the counter. Okay, so we're gonna start with our pot right here and we're gonna add 2 cups of whole milk. Okay, and we're gonna put this on the stove over a like medium high heat. Okay, and then just personally, I like to just stick my whisk in there and whisk ever so often just to make sure there's no kind of film forming on the bottom of the pan. So I'm gonna stick that in there really quick. Okay, and then while that is heating up, so I'm going to prepare the other section of it, if you will. Basically, we're going to be tempering the egg yolks to make sure that they don't cook weird and basically become scrambled eggs, because that wouldn't be very tasty, because we do want to make a nice custard. So move this little mouse over here. Okay. So we have a bowl. Put this back down. Hello, how are you today? Let's see, it's hard to tell because of how bright the light is, but I have half a cup of granulated sugar. It's about 100 grams. And to this, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, again, because it's so bright white, it's hard to see. Hello. So 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, it's about 30 grams of cornstarch going in. Just adding it all in. And like I mentioned, our milk is on the stove already, and that's trying to heat up a little bit. And then here we have a 1/4 teaspoon or so of salt. That's to make sure to balance everything. You can use salted butter, which will kind of negate the need for salt, but I like to control how much salt I put into it. So that's why I like to use unsalted butter and salt. We're gonna give this a little mix here. My apologies for how bright it is. I'm gonna need to take some time to kind of play around with what it looks like on the webcam a little bit more. Okay, just until it's really well mixed. And then I'm gonna stir the milk mixture or the milk really quick on the stove just to make sure there's no film forming on the bottom. Again, I'm hoping I can figure out a 2-camera setup at some point or get like a burner for the counter where it'll be a lot easier to see every single step of the process. But then we also have 6 egg yolks right here, and this is going into our sugar mixture. Okay, I'm just gonna mix this in until it's really well combined. We wanna kind of let the, essentially let the mixture lighten a little bit in color. And then we know it's where we want it. Okay, so there's kind of what it's looking like so far. Let me turn down the light a little bit, see if that helps with seeing the color a little bit better. ring light seems a tad bright today. That's a little bit better, okay. So we're continuing to mix this with this whisk. I'm using a small wire whisk to do this. Okay, and it's already starting to kind of lighten in color a little bit. Okay, it's kind of looking like how I want it to look. So I'm going to set this right here. I'm going to check on the milk mixture to see if it's heating nicely. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit just for a second. I'll pop my webcam back up a little bit. So with pastry creams, while the milk is heating up, with pastry creams, I like to use them for a whole variety of things. One of my favorites is to fill cupcakes or cakes. I prefer having a filling like that where it's this really custardy, almost pudding-like, or some type of creamy thing that's not buttercream. I've just never been into just buttercream and cake. So I really like to do a filling like a pastry cream or something like that. And with pastry cream, I'm showing you how to make like my basic pastry cream, and then you can do a lot of different things with it. You can actually add extra cornstarch if you want to have it a little bit thicker and basically be like a pie filling. Yeah, there's so many things to do with it. It's also filling cream puffs. You can also freeze it in like a popsicle mold and make like a pudding pop type thing, because pastry cream is essentially just like a fancy way of saying homemade pudding, basically. So it's really, really easy. And like I said, I love to make it for just about anything. And I like to kind of experiment with fillings like around the holidays. I like to do like a chocolate peppermint or a caramel cinnamon is really, really delicious. So yeah, I love to kind of play around with it a little bit, and it's just this really, really delicious filling. You could honestly just eat on its own like a little bowl for dessert. Let's see, has anyone here made pastry cream before? Is anyone making it right now with me? Nothing yet. Okay. Let's check on the milk again. Okay, I can tell it's starting to heat up a little bit, but it needs to go a little bit further. So I'm going to show you what I did yesterday. So I did make some cookies and cream pastry cream yesterday, and I put them in these little like squeeze popsicle mold things to try out. I haven't tried them in here before, but I've done them in like a regular popsicle mold, and not sure if it'll actually let me squeeze it. It might be a bit too firm for that. Yeah, that's true. Although I feel like you okay, so my sister is typing in the chat, and she made caramel the other day look really good. So she's saying that she would make scrambled eggs, but yes, I'm hoping that this will actually work. You're supposed to be able to squeeze it, and then it pops up. But I haven't tried it with the pastry cream. Run under warm water? Okay. Let's see. Yes, that worked. Okay. That went perfect. Okay, so you squeeze it. Water did the perfect trick, but see, it's a nice, it's kind of, I mean, with cookies and cream pastry cream, it does kind of become like this kind of grayish color. Want to hear the stuff on the stove? Let me grab that. Okay. My mixture is warm enough. I'm gonna pop that back in the freezer so it melts. All right, but basically that was something that you can do with it, is make like a popsicle like that. And I haven't tried that mold before, so I was kind of excited. So aim this back down. Okay, so we have our milk right here. And then I like to grab like a ladle of some kind to help transfer the milk into this dish. And I also like to use something like this that's like a textured, kind of like no slip mat kind of a thing, and stick it underneath the bowl, because your bowl is going to try to spin like crazy and move all the way, like move all around, because we're going to be constantly whisking while adding some of the milk into here. So I like to use this instead of pouring it directly from the pan. I always get milk dripping down the sides, and we got to stick it back on the stove. And with an electric stove, it's not a happy thing to have to clean your pan first before you can go back to the burner. So we're slowly adding the milk in here and whisking constantly while doing so. This is tempering. It's making sure the eggs don't cook. Well, don't cook, you know, it's helping them warm up a little bit gradually instead of just full on going into the heat and possibly scrambling them. Slowly adding it in, whisk, 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 until it's all well combined. And then we're gonna add some more. And we're gonna go until we add about 1/3 to 1/2 of the milk from the pan. And after that first one, I go a little bit faster because it's already starting to warm up a bit. Okay, maybe like one more ladle, and then we're good to add it back into this pan. Okay. Stick our ladle off to the side. And see, this works really well with this mat. If I wasn't doing that, my bowl would be, well, now when it's a thicker mixture, now it won't do it, of course, but when it's a thick mixture and you're adding the liquid to it at first, the whisk will get stuck on the mixture inside and it will continually just spin, and it's quite irritating. So that's a little nice thing that I like to put it on. Make sure it's all good to go. And then we're going to chuck this whisk to the side. And we're going to pour our egg and sugar mixture into our milk. And again, we're kind of slowly adding it and whisking constantly. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Okay, just kind of scrape down the sides a little bit before I stick the bowl off to the side. Get rid of this. Back to the side. Okay. We're combining it just like that. That's what we want it to look like. So we have in here our milk, our cornstarch, our sugar, our eggs, and our salts. We're gonna put this up a little bit because I'm gonna have to stand by the stove. Oh, it's not far enough. I'm gonna have to stand by the stove and whisk constantly because it is going to thicken and you don't want it to possibly burn on the bottom or get a weird filmy thing on the bottom. So you want to constantly whisk while you're on the stove again. So basically just stand here and do this for a little while. And basically we're waiting until it will start to thicken. So you want, basically the cornstarch is going to activate. And then once that does, we cook it for like 30 more seconds once you see it start to thicken. And then we're going to remove it from the stove. Just whisk, whisk, whisk. If you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat. I can kind of see them from here, but it's a little bit of a distance. Again, if I can figure out like a 2-camera system, I'm definitely gonna have one set up like this. Or again, I've been having my own like a burner to have on the counter, which is what I'm leaning more towards because it would be very convenient to be over there right now. But just whisking away. If you're curious, my mom's making some chili. That's what the big pot's for. Okay. Keep whisking. This takes a few minutes, but once you see it thicken, it's a very quick switch. And you'll see the difference in consistency right away. I don't think I have any questions yet from what I can see over here. also thought this would be a good thing to make today because it's so hot still with summer that I don't want to bake anything yet. So I'm really excited for fall when we can actually start like baking stuff together in the kitchen for a live stream. But today I was like, that's not going to happen until the weather cools down a little bit. So pastry cream is perfect because you only use the stove. Of course, the things you can add it to would require baking, but that's besides the point. Okay, starting to thicken. Not quite there yet. Okay, and now I see it's pretty much all thickened up, and I'm gonna cook it for about 20, 30 seconds more. And then I'll be back over to the counter. Okay, turning off our stove and coming back. So let's look at the consistency now. And you can tell it is much thicker. It was very liquidy before, and now it is a nice pudding consistency. So now we have our bowl right here with a strainer placed on top. This isn't totally necessary, but I like to do it just in case, because if you accidentally scramble your eggs a little bit, it'll help remove that. If you have any little lumps or whatever that didn't get properly mixed in, this is going to help remove those and have a nice smooth mixture. So, oh, and before I do that, I almost forgot 2 important ingredients. So we have 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract that we're adding in. And then we are also adding a 1/4 cup, or what is the measurement? 55 grams, I think, of butter. It's basically just half a stick. We're adding that in, and we're going to let the warmth of the pastry cream kind of melt the butter. Just keep stirring and stirring until our butter is completely melted and fully incorporated. Again, if you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat. I am happy to answer them. If you have any ideas of things you'd like to see for a live stream, I've been working on kind of brainstorming some ideas, but I always like feedback and input. All right, just keep whisking. The little butter cube is almost down. Okay, and I don't think I see the butter anymore. It looks like everything is nice and mixed in. Now we're going to pour it into our strainer. Wait, that tricky little butter cube. Okay, there you are. A little bit more whisking, just letting the heat from the pastry cream melt it. If it for some reason was not melting well at all, I could put it back on the stove, but I always just like to let the heat of the pastry cream itself do the trick. Okay, that should be good. Pour it right in here. Scraping the sides. Want to get all the pastry cream as you can. Okay. So again, at this point, this is a basic pastry cream. This is like the kind of standard vanilla one that I make for nice basic desserts. And then it's a really good base to just add other stuff to. Okay. We've got about everything that we can. We're going to stick this off to the side. Okay. I'm going to grab the spoon out. And just kind of help run it through the sieve. As you can see, it's already ran through quite a bit, but this should just kind of help it along. This notification. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay. We are just straining our custard. Again, this is just to remove any kind of little lumps or anything that might be in here. we're actually almost done with this. This is how easy it is to make pastry cream. It's very quick, very easy. Again, very versatile, always tasty. Okay, that looks pretty good. And see if you might be able to see little bits kind of along the side here. That's what I wanted to remove to make sure everything was good. Then we're going to take our rubber spatula and just scrape the bottom, get all that yummy stuff we pushed through the sieve out and into our bowl. There we go. Set this on the side. And now the fun part, mixing in our Oreos. So I already have Oreos that I've crushed up. This is about 8 Oreos worth of Oreo crumbs. And I'm going to add in, not all of them. I added in all 8 yesterday and want to see what a little bit less looks like. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. We're just going to add them in and then gently kind of fold them in. I'm adding most, keeping a little bit off to the side, just to see if I want to add everything or not. Okay, just scraping down all the sides as well, just to make sure everything is totally mixed in. And there we go. That's cookies and cream pastry cream. And then basically what I do from this point is I will grab a container like this, a nice airtight container. And we're going to pour it right in here. Or if you want to put it in like your popsicle mold, it's definitely going to be easier to pour when it's warm. So that's where you'd want to do it. At this point, I'm just going to use it as a filling for something. I don't even know what yet, but it's delicious. Just going to stick it in this bowl. Every little bit. Okay, I'm going to set that to the side. And see, again, I didn't use all 8 today. I probably used about 6 Oreos worth. I removed the cream and I just put them in a little bowl. And then I'll add them to, if I make like an Oreo American buttercream, we can add those into that. You can also add them into maybe like a pie filling. I haven't experimented a whole lot with them. I just, like I said, mix them into like an Oreo buttercream. But we add the cookie pieces, not the cream. Just gonna scrape our spatula. Okay, and then I need to go grab my plastic wrap. I'll be right back. Close up my Oreos here. Be right back. Okay. It's like a big old plastic wrap today. Okay, so we're gonna take a piece of plastic wrap, place it right over the top, and then we are gently pressing, a little bit messy. We're gently pressing on the top. And the reason we're doing this is because if we don't, then a film is going to form over the top of it because of it being exposed to air. So we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to avoid that because it's just like this weird kind of texture. I've heard some people like it, but it's always been a very funky texture to me. So I always make sure to do this. I also do it with like ganaches and stuff like that, just to make sure that film doesn't form. So got it all pressed, and then we just close it up. I let this sit at room temperature for probably about maybe like 10, 15 minutes. And then after that, I'll put it into the refrigerator, and then I let it set for probably about 4 to 6 hours just to make sure it kind of sets. And it does taste good right now, yes, but the flavor completely changes when it's actually cold. So try to make sure you can like hold yourself back from eating it right away. It's definitely better when it's completely chilled and actually sets up. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to pop them in the chat. We'll be on for probably a couple more minutes. But yeah, so it's super easy. Like I said, pastry cream is ridiculously easy, and I love experimenting with flavors, especially when it comes to holiday stuff. Like I've made pumpkin pastry cream, and I think the cinnamon caramel one is probably one of my favorites, along with the Oreo one because it's classic. Yeah, I think that's about it. Do you guys have any questions about how to make it? Anything I might not have gone over? I'm pretty sure I went over everything as far as I know. Yeah, any suggestions as to things that you guys want to see? Do you guys like having kind of stuff like this, or do you like something more kind of like last week, but maybe a little bit shorter of like decorating a cake or cupcakes or something, or just kind of a whole mix? Let me know in the comment section. And yeah, that's what we got today, pastry cream. I'll probably post something that I use this for, probably use it for like a cupcake filling. Like I said, it's really, really good with cupcakes, especially like the chocolate cupcakes and a nice Swiss meringue buttercream. That's also why I like pastry cream, because it's not as sweet as buttercream, especially an American style buttercream. So when I give people cupcakes and stuff like that, they're like shocked that it's not as sweet. And it's usually because I do a combination of some type of filling in the cupcake, like a pastry cream or something like that, and also like a Swiss meringue buttercream that's less sweet. So I like finding ways of balancing out desserts when I can, because I know that, especially as an adult now, I don't like super, super hyper sweet things. And whereas a kid, I was like all sweet things all the time. Should make a USA pastry cream. Oh, that would be really good. So grosseille is, if I remember correctly, that is the black currants. Is that right? Sita. So my sister is saying that I should do a grosseille, and I'm pretty sure that's the black currant, kind of like flavoring, red currants. Okay, so it's a red currant flavoring, and it, especially like a raspado is like a shaved ice. And it's just, you make a syrup with it and it tastes really good. I actually kind of think that it tastes like, what are they called? The wild cherry like lifesavers. For some reason, that's what that flavor reminds me of a lot, but it's really, really good. So I like that idea of making maybe a pastry cream, maybe a curd. I would need to kind of look into that a little bit, but that would be really, really good. And then if you're gonna make a pastry cream, if you're gonna make it with some type of, I usually do it like make the pastry cream of like a vanilla one and then pair it with like a fresh fruit. But if you're gonna do like a citrus one, I haven't tried this yet, but I saw it on a Food Network show. And basically you take your pastry cream and you do some of the zest, and that's, or zest, or some of the, rind basically, and you put that into the milk and you let it kind of steep in there to get the flavor from it. You don't want to add any actual citrus juice, or else it's basically going to curdle your milk and make it icky. So I've been wanting to try that for a while too. So that's one that I haven't tried yet, but I'm definitely going to. But yeah, I like that idea a lot. Okay, so I think that I am going to get off the live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And for those of you checking out the replay, thank you so much for checking it out. Again, feel free to let me know in the comments. My voice went out. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you thought about the instructions today. I want to try and kind of keep it kind of casual, you know, a little bit. And also what kind of stuff you guys want to see. I'd love to see your recommendations. I do have some ideas, but I do get inspired by when people suggest things to me. So yeah, let me know, put those in the comments. And I hope you guys have an awesome day and an awesome weekend. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.